Hello and welcome to An Old Man Plays Masquerada. Or welcome back, in fact. We're on part 8.
We won't have to let them know. We'll go to the Hall of Songs first, settle this issue with Zelia and Orlana, and then we'll come back.
Then it is your turn to tell us everything, yes?
It is. Now...
Leaving already?
Not this time, boys.
The two of you should be resting. The Fae hasn't come back yet.
And let Calden deal with this by himself.
What?
Please, Mariner. You were screaming last night. You really thought no one else would hear?
You know?
Surprise.
And Vasco?
Yes? Vasco?
His metal is impressive.
What's going on?
He woke me up before dawn, asked for my help.
To what?
To...
To speak.
And?
Not perfect. Mind muddled. Languages floating. But better.
Vasco, I'm...
No. Now is the mariner's time. To share... I support you.
Thank you.
Besides, your personal life is your own, as long as it doesn't get in the way of the investigation.
And since the investigation is waiting for the return of our supernatural friend...
I don't believe this.
This world, not always hopeless.
I guess not.
Come on. I think the coach has space for one more. The others can stay back, in case our Fae returns. I'd like to thank you, Marshal, for being so accepting of the Mariner.
It isn't so much a feat, as you describe it.
I beg to differ. Supporting Italios isn't quite the most orthodox action.
The Luca aren't known for standing up for what is orthodox, Inspectore. We're known to stand up for what's right.
Another verse from the Bright Chorus?
No. My father, this time.
They're wise words. I only wish more people listened to them these days.
We should be getting ready, Inspectore.
Of course.
Quite eventful these days have been. First our poor friend Salts, and now we learn that another is Talios. You've always been a magnet for the dramatic, you know.
You don't have to tell me twice. Do thank Livia for me, if you get the chance. It's sweet of her, taking care of Vasco like that.
What can I say? Your friends are our friends, Cicero.
Even the Mariner?
I was from Rune, Cicero. Our customs are rather different over there. Besides, if there's one thing living in this city does to people, it's open minds. You don't survive long in a world of fire and ice with such narrow vision.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Please thank Livia for me. She's just there! She's just there! You lazy individual.
It was nice, what you did for Calden.
He's gone through enough. It would be awful to make things any harder for him.
Do you have something else on your mind? You sound a little distracted.
Well, I do, actually. That Fae that you created last night. How?
Kyrie's explained it all to us.
No, I meant the Scythe. What were you thinking of? What did you use?
It's not the shortest story. Are you certain you want to hear it?
I'm sure we can spare a little time.
When I was younger, I had been Contadani. I had always thought the portiere guards that patrolled the spire had the ripest purses. I haunted the streets around it like a spectre. Me and my fruit knife.
You? A cut purse?
I did not learn all my skills from the registry, no. One day, I got caught, and the portiere dragged me by my heels up the grand stairs. When we came to the top, I had my breath taken from me. Sprawled out before me, was the city that I had hated for cursing me and my family with poverty. But at that moment, from that vantage point, it suddenly seemed beautiful. The guards turned to me and asked me what I was doing. I turned to them and said, I want to be a portiere.
What did they do then?
Clubbed me over the back of my head.
No, they didn't.
I woke up in a cell, told my story to the Valencio of the time, and the rest is a story of history.
And you used that?
That moment at the top of the stairs, looking out at the city. I was remembering the wonderment, the drive to make it better, the awe at its beauty, the curiosity at its secrets. And then that Fae materialized.
I see. Thank you for sharing.
Come on, let's get ready.
One.
One.
Again. One.
One.
Two.
Two.
Three.
Three.
Again. Three.
They'll fail.
It's all right. Let's try that again, from the beginning. One.
Thank you, by the way, because I'm standing right here. Right, I think we'll take the marshal. Don't need to do anything there.
Where to, sir?
The Hall of Songs, please.
She got the most status and she's not got a speech difficulty at the moment.
Cicero. If things do not go well inside,
I will not abandon you.
it's not that. I need you to know how grateful I am for everything that you've already done.
We'll be fine, Calden.
Well, the outcome of the conversation is scripted because nothing.
And
in
this is his brother's?
Yes, head matron. I spoke with Mirabas after Calden had visited the hall some days ago. She told me that his brother had intended this for him.
He rarely spoke of this brother of his.
Of course. His family likely was too ashamed to call him their blood. Their chimes would be in jeopardy.
As they are in your hands?
Ah, Calden. It's a pleasure to see you.
Likewise, head matron.
And Inspectore Gavar, it's been a while.
Head matron?
Now, Mariner, you are aware of the reason you have been called here?
I have my suspicions.
Your sleeve, then, if you will.
Matron, if I might have...
Your sleeve, Calden. There, matron. It is true.
What is true, exactly?
Matron, I spoke of this earlier. That tattoo is proof that...
That what? Answer me precisely, if you would.
What do you mean?
Calden has a tattoo, and I do not see anything unusual about art on the skin.
But that tattoo is evidence that he deserves to be punished.
For what? Precisely.
He is Talios.
And is that my business, or is it his?
You are defending him.
As a matron should, for her own people.
This is against the laws of society.
Society governs those laws, songstress. And as the leader of a large part of that society, I choose to stand by this man.
This? No.
Orlana! Calden! Zelia.
I will call for Mirabas.
Thank you.
As I was going to say, you know, the conversation is scripted. You don't get to decide anything except how in this game, except basically whether or not to click on something and how to have a fight.
Orlana, please.
Stay back!
Please, Orlana, put the chime down.
Do not tell me what to do, beast! You corrupted my brother!
Listen to me, please.
How did you defile his mind?
I did not.
Liar! You must have fed him something, given him some poison to turn him into a beast like you.
I did no such thing.
He was my brother, and you took him away from me. I loved him.
As did I. You speak of poisons and defilement and treachery. The truth is far simpler. I loved him.
But you took him away from me. You took away my brother and replaced him with something else.
That is not true. He was always the same romantic, sentimental man that you grew up with. This doesn't change that. If there is a reason to be angry at me, it is because I was a coward. It was because of my fear of being honest about who I was, about what we were, that stopped me from giving him the support that he needed. When he needed it the most, I shouldn't have abandoned him. But I did. And I am sorry.
Sorry isn't going to bring my brother back.
Orlana!
She's big on the drama, isn't she?
Something is wrong.
Orlana!
Calden, the chime!
Help me, Cicero!
Cicero!
Matron, she was hit hard.
She will require extensive healing. Her pulse is barely there. I must take her down now, or she will not survive.
Go, Zelia. We'll handle this.
So we got a big fight now, by the looks of it.
Something is wrong. It is never this aggressive. What happened?
Orlana tried to feed it the chime, but it attacked her.
Attacked her? Ages. It's out of control. And the chime?
It took it.
Then it's feeding off the song. We need to kill it. We cannot afford to let it remain like this.
What about the chime?
If we are quick enough, the song might survive. Sisters, prepare yourselves. I hope you're ready, Cicero.
As I'll ever be.
Now, Cicero! For the light!
Actually. Why can I... The pathing is sometimes not very good in this. Okay, they are dealing with those things. Right, good. that thing. Thank you. Don't know why my guy stopped there, but he did for a little while.
No! No.
Thank you, Cicero. That Fae, ages knows what happened to it.
I've always wondered why you songstresses wanted to keep people out.
That isn't the reason. For all the centuries the singing tree has been here, it's never acted like this. Oh,
What are you thinking?
something is happening. Something that we cannot see, that is on a level beyond us. It frightens me to wonder what it might be.
Indeed.
But it is settled, at least for now. As for other matters...
He's a good man, Mirabas. Saved Orlana when he could have saved the song.
And now that song is gone forever.
You will consider my request, though?
Society will not change, even if I do this, Cicero.
I'm not asking for it to. But please, even you can tell that he is deserving of better.
Perhaps I am being blinded by tradition, but I suppose I can do this. As a favor to him for saving the life of my songstress, even if she might not have been quite so generous.
Thank you, Mirabas.
I will tend to it now. I'll be back shortly.
How are you feeling?
The head matron has decided to leave the sail heart in my care. There's great consolation in that.
Calden, will you face me, please? Why? Tell me, Calden. Please.
It's not worth a life. Jax has taught me that.
When I went to the Sail Heart, there were children there. Did they call Jax as their father?
They do.
Could I meet them?
Of course.
That would be nice. I think I'll see you around.
I know it's not Razatov, but...
Take your heart, take my hand. I will lead you through storm and fire. The blood may thin, the bow may break, but our cradle will e'er be shared. The wound will heal, the songs will ring, and soon again will your spirit sing. Take my heart, take your hand, I await you in promised land.
All right, big man.
Not sure that would quite so quickly relieve his grief, but never mind. Increases casting arc, increases damage and knocks enemies back. I think I'll go for wider casting arc. Creed heals nearby enemies. Caster heals 20% when an enemy is hit. Heals nearby allies. Sounds good. That's everybody? Yep. Ooh. Another book to learn. It's just lore stuff, but pick it up just in case it's something else. Yep, cutscene.
Rise, my brethren. It is found.
Short one this time.
Is your face all right? You haven't stopped smiling since we left the hall.
It's just... all my life I've lived in fear, and now... you've changed my life, Cicero.
Oh, come now. I didn't do...
You showed me that even in a city of secrets and shadows, the truth has a place in our hearts and is worth fighting for. I know the city isn't going to change because of what we've done, and the Hall of Songs probably isn't going to sail to different winds overnight. But you've made a difference, Cicero. In my life, at least. Know that.
I think I might have needed this ordeal as much as you.
Come on. Let's see if our Fae friend is back.
Tower. It's not shot with spires. It's more of a tall dome.
What's going on?
Keep going. Salting. I can't believe I hadn't seen this earlier.
You've lost me.
It was the key to understanding Dementica. Adoran Vamus, the first man who salted and retained a portion of his mind, could, during his lucid moments, read, write, and speak Dementica, just like Vasco. He was the cornerstone upon which all research into the language was based.
What are you saying?
I'm saying it's a bridge. Salting connects the two souls, the two minds, the two spirits, whatever you want to call them. And it happens when we use the Mascherines' powers too strongly, tap too deeply into another soul.
So they're connected?
Exactly. And now all the stories of the past are at our fingertips. Imagine all that we could learn now that we understand this connection.
All right. So what's the poor bloodling done to deserve this?
Vasco's claimed that he's had a few memories that seem to have been left over by the Dementicate, who'd been his Masquerine. He thinks he can see what the city might have looked like. We're trying to replicate it.
Remember, bulbous.
I think I've got it.
And that's it?
Let me see. What does it look like? I don't quite know what to make of it.
Vasco.
I can make out a long tower over there, but...
Amadea, that's not
a tower. Yes, I was thinking as he described it.
That's a man, with his trousers down. That's his,
Vasco! Will you please take this seriously?
I only see vague images. Nalior, not enough for anything substantial.
I suppose it was worth a try. Rotten swine, you.
Well, now that everything's settled down, I think we've kept our questions in the shadows for long enough.
About the sunken star. Right. You'd best sit down.
First we learned that Mascherines are Dementicate, and now you're telling me that they're Fae as well.
It makes sense. The increase in the mists in the recent years corresponds with the destruction of the hundreds of Mascherines in the War of Bearings.
This is incredulous, Inspectore. The Fae have been around since time immemorial, and no one has managed to learn where they've come from.
Until now. Think about it, Marshal. Mascherines and Fae. Two things that have existed before the city was even built. Is it really so surprising that they're related?
And Lucia was led by one of them?
Is. If I could get out of there alive, I'm certain she made it through as well. But, yes. She's being led by a Fae they call the Lady. Being Dementicate, she has knowledge of the world that we haven't even glimpsed.
You said she's trying to stop another cataclysm from occurring.
She mentioned something about uniting the city, bringing the artifacts together. She handed me some scrolls about Dementicate history to read, but I haven't had the time.
Well, now we do. It's not a long record. It explains the downfall of their civilization. In summary, the single event that served as the pivot for the success of their empire was a civil war.
Sounds familiar.
What was this war about?
The artifacts. For a long time, they were used by the Dementicate to push the boundaries of their empire.
Which supports what we found at the Conoscenza.
But it couldn't last forever.
Not with the way the artifacts worked.
Calden!
The way they worked. Inspectore.
I'm sorry, Marshal. The artifacts were what were responsible for turning the souls of the Dementicate into Mascherines. They created the Dementicate's power.
And everyone knows this?
Marshal, I wanted to tell you.
Carry on.
Tiziana...
Stop wasting my time. How did the Dementicate fall?
When the artifacts were received by the Dementicate, they initially sacrificed their prisoners to create the Mascherines. When their empire expanded, they began to turn to ordinary men and women instead. As you can imagine, that did not end well.
Uprisings?
Exactly. Their empire was cleaved in two, those who wanted to continue using the artifacts, and those that demanded that they be kept away, saying that it cost them too much.
Well, the artifacts are nowhere to be found, so I assume the latter faction won.
Correct. And that is when their empire began to crumble. Without the powers of the artifacts, they couldn't stand against the chaos of the world.
Chaos?
It isn't explained exactly what it was, but I think it is safe to assume that it's related to the cataclysm.
If these scrolls don't mention what the cataclysm is, then why does Lucia believe another is in store for us?
I don't know. But what I do know is that she believes that she needs to unite the city, and she intends to do that by overthrowing the registry. Just on time.
Kadek?
Sam Bel Ya.
Arish?
Sam Bel Ya.
The Assemblia.
It wants us to go to the altars.
The Misted Isles.
Ah, of course.
I'm sorry, I don't follow.
The Misted Isles. A set of monuments left behind by the Dementicate. The Altus built the Assemblia around it to keep people out. Vasco, what's on these monuments that it wants us to see? Can it just tell us what's on it?
Avar?
Don Sivnia. Santa. Atavar.
No. They're guarded, and he doesn't remember precisely. But he promises they're important.
It's all right. At least now we have a lead.
Tiziana should go with you. The relationship between the Altus and the Luca is the strongest of all between the same aura. It might help ease our way in.
Well... do I smell hesitation?
Fine.
Better get ready then.
Now let's look at the case notes. The Fae return, and we, all of us, the truths are out, have translated the scrolls that Lucia has given to me. These scrolls tell us more about the fall of the Dementicate than hundreds of years of digging through ruins has. Dementicate were divided through the usage of the whatever. When they ran out of comics to convert into Mascherines, they turned to ordinary people instead, and this divide in the society made them weak. They could not stand against the chaos of the world, which we have come to interpret as the cataclysm. Though we know not exactly the details of this chaos, it seems to have been enough to convince Lucia that the time fraction is now, and that is all that matters currently. The Fae Someone has told us we must go to the Assemblia next. It cannot remember what we will find, but its memory has drawn it to those ruins. Though I wish we had a better lead than a fresh Fae's ancient memory, this will have to do.
Oh, you're looking much better.
Time heals. I'll be all right, eventually. I have something to show you.
Wait. That's... Jaff's?
It has been a while.
I cannot believe this. All these years.
You're hurt. I'm sorry, but I couldn't jeopardize my new life.
Your life with the Labores?
It seemed the best way to find out who it was that killed my parents.
And it's paid off. You've discovered who it was then?
Benak. Not just yet. But that is a mission for another time. A time when the whole of Umber is not at stake.
Why didn't you tell me?
I tried.
The whistles.
And the golden canvas.
And the sunken star. That's why you did it. Why you were willing to salt.
Yes. I couldn't leave you. Not again.
Ages. Where do we go from here?
First things first. Continue to address me as Vasco, please. It's stuck.
I understand.
And secondly, I do not see why this has to change anything. I am still in your company. We still search for the tools to save all of Umber. We keep going. That's what we do.
All right. Let's find these artifacts then.
Let's find these artifacts.
Sorry, wrong button. Not if my intuition fails me, I listened for the most part that this, perhaps because a part of me wanted to believe that he truly had perished, I mourned a long time for him, and my mind had wanted to preserve the meaning of these tears. It would be silly to remember him as the boy I'd grown up with. Time has shaped him, changing the sense the child that I remember is dead. There's much clothes that needs to be sought with this man, but for now, I do believe enough has been said. Quickly check there's nothing down there. There isn't. Down the stairs it is then.
Ages. It makes so much sense.
Talking to yourself again?
Just thinking about the behavior of the Fae. The way they respond to the old world, like the Kilgan and the Cleaver, so careful not to touch the relics. Or those in the pin drop, and the way they shied away from the statue of their god. I always thought they exhibited such strange behaviors because of some inherent power in the relics or something. But they must remember that the items were part of their world. For all I know, the Kilgan could have been my custodial predecessors thousands of years ago.
You're rather quick to humanize them. I don't think most Fae remember who they once were.
Not fully, perhaps, but there is a sliver of humanity in each. That's what the Scythe are. Fragments of humanity used as a seed for the Fae to be born out of. It might be merely a fragment, true, but still. I shouldn't let this get too much in the way. We have work that needs to be done, and I'm sure there'll be time. Later.
So one thing I do like about this game is that it visually tags when there's something new to talk about with a companion. You don't have that old, I have some calibrations to do, repeating conversation with Garrus, like in Mass Effect with Garrus, where you would, after every mission you'd run around all of your companions to see, has anyone unlocked a new conversation? No? Okay. Whereas this game is very clear about who now has a new conversation for you to have. On the other hand, you only get one chance to have that conversation, and that conversation is 100% scripted. Like I said, the only choices this game lets you make is really in the fights. And I think it would be enriched a great deal if you had some control over Cicero's behaviour and could make decisions. I can see why potentially with the subplot around Calden's homosexuality that they wouldn't want to give players the option of not supporting Calden, and I'm fully on board with that. You should support Calden. But in other ways, decisions about whether or not to tell people things, I think, a lot of the decisions the character has made have been sort of counterproductive for the success of his actual mission. and you've had no way to prevent him from doing that.
Marshal.
Inspetore.
You know why I did what I did.
I do. It's because you don't trust me.
I trust you perfectly fine. Your guild, on the other hand.
After all this time, you still don't see it.
I'm sorry?
I am my guild, Inspetore. With hindsight, I suppose I should have made that clearer. I'd have spared us both some inconvenience.
So the truth is out. I've delayed it for as long as possible because I'm a numpty. She harbours anger, yes, but beneath it she's hurt. This dishonors me. It's evidence that she cares. She's invested more into the investigation than I initially thought. Secondly, I'm essentially going to find myself sorry. Seems the only one who's invested more in our acquaintanceship than I'd first expected. Somewhere along the way, my view of her has changed. Initially, she'd been a burden, a spy, a threat to be wary of. Now, however, a great defender, a compassionate woman to agree, and perhaps even a friend willing to expose herself. Now, and I've gone ahead and ruined it because I'm a numpty. Now, any trust that I might have built with her has been shattered, and that saddens me to a point. Still, though, she's not let her emotions cut adjustment of the situation, or not let mine. At the end of the day, she's a marshal, and my name's Victoria, and we have our jobs to do.
Cicero, about earlier.
I suppose she had to find out eventually.
My mind has just been so overwhelmed. Keeping secrets seemed like the least of our concerns, especially now with tides.
What's bothering you?
Lucia. She's being led by a dimenticate who's been around longer than all our legacies combined. It just worries me what we're standing up against.
We've come this far, haven't we?
I suppose we have. All right. Chins up, then.
Hasn't anyone told you it's rude to stare?
Sir, are we really traveling with that thing?
It needs to follow us, so yes.
Does it, understand us?
Perhaps. It certainly isn't stupid.
Right. Well, anyway, where are we going today, sir?
The Assemblia, please.
Right away.
I think it makes sense to take somebody who knows about the Dimenticate. He actually speaks the language right now, so... Whilst I like Calden better as a character, I'm going to take him.
You need to hide.
Comfortable?
Well, we can't have a Fae walking around with us now, can we? Let's go.
New ink, so we're obviously going back to the Astiguary at some point, because otherwise there'd be no point in giving me a new ink.
Halt!
Good morning, Malleus.
You've got company, is that?
Inspetore Cicero Gavar, yes.
I do not think Var Previo would be too pleased to see you bringing a member of the White Spire in here.
I am here under the orders of the Judge Master. I'm certain the Var will allow this.
On your word, Marshal.
Tiziana?
Hello, Mother.
Mother?
Please sit. Inspetore Gavar, it is surprising to see you here.
I am sorry, but I had not been told that we would be visiting Tiziana's mother.
Does it matter who she is? We need access to the Assemblia, and that is that.
So, that's why you've come. Might I ask what for?
The Misted Isles. We want to see it.
Tiziana, even you understand that...
I am here on behalf of the Judge Master. You will take us to see it or have him to answer to.
I can't.
Excuse me?
The Assemblia is occupied.
What in the light is that supposed to mean? Mists. What is happening inside?
The Rediro. They've grown.
Grown?
They're trying to break free.
Prepare yourselves! Watch your flanks!
So it's fight time once more. Get the big guy.
They're enormous.
Var Pravia had gone to the Luca to make a request for assistance. We had hoped to contain them until she returned.
It seems you failed at that.
Isabel, we need to get to the Misted Isles.
I'll get the calendar. Tiziana, guard the door, please, while I determine the course we should take.
Vasco, assist me.
Isabel, you and Tiziana.
She blames me for her father's death.
Zane, from what I know, he died of an illness.
10 years ago, while I was on a ruin raid with the Altus, there was an accident. I fell into a coma for 2 years, during which Zane tirelessly cared for me.
He stretched himself thin.
Too thin. He started falling ill. One night, just a month before I emerged from the depths of the coma, he did not wake to the morning sun. Tiziana thinks that if I had been stronger, if I had been able to protect myself, he would still be alive.
It was an accident.
Born of incompetence.
And she said this to you? That she blames you?
I'm certain she's spoken much about Zane. Is it any wonder that you have never heard of me?
I had thought that perhaps you might have...
Being dead, sometimes it feels like I might as well be to her. Here, the 57th route. I can take us through it.
Isabel, perhaps if you tried speaking to her...
I have. You think it is easy for me to live with the knowledge that my daughter hates me. On the rare occasion that she comes and visits, I reach out, but I always get burned.
But you keep trying.
Can I ever stop? She is my daughter, Cicero. And if words will not convince her, then perhaps action will.
What do you mean?
We should get back to them. Let us go. I know the route to take.
Us? You will only slow us down. Tell me which route it is, I can take them through it.
I am capable of taking care of myself.
You are not!
Marshal!
Stay out of this, Inspectore. Tell us how to get through. You are witness. If she slows us down, do not say I didn't try to stop her.
Marshal, she is your mother.
Does that excuse her from her folly?
Tiziana.
Where is this coming from?
What?
You! Poking your nose where it doesn't belong. What's between me and my mother is between us alone. We have gotten by for years without your help, and we will continue to do so. Now, if we are done...
Yes.
I've just noticed that my mic seems to be picking up quite a lot of audio from the game, so I'm trying to started trying to mute it while they're talking. I hope it hasn't been reverbing too much up till this point. Not much I can do about it now, though. yeah, there's no way to reload and repeat what I've done to date, so I guess I just have to put up with however the audio has come out in the first part of the game. Hopefully, it's not too bad, but I'll keep trying to do this, and you'll might occasionally get moments of silence where I'm talking to myself like you just had back then. We'll see how we go.
It is this way.
What is that?
It's a bell station. We use them to call the Ridiro to us. Ever since they've gone berserk, they've been swarming these things.
They're just going to keep coming unless we destroy them.
Isabel.
We do what we need to. I understand.
Let's go.
Legan Ardul!
Smash these things as much as we can. My guide actually responds to my instructions. That was a very noisy fight, that one. Okay, I'm going to follow the left-hand route. Method of navigating the dungeon, and yeah, just always follow the left wall.
We're making good progress.
Let's just keep going.
Ready yourselves! Noisy fights. The ringing of the bell. Dead end by the looks of it. Oh, no, not a dead end. Only one way forward, it would appear. So.
least there's no bell ringing this time.
Isabel!
I'm fine.
This is why I told you not to follow.
Do not speak to me this way. I am not useless.
Look at your arm, your legs.
What must I do to prove myself to you?
This is pathetic, Mother. You are weak. Face it.
I am not.
You're never going to be able to bring him back. Now mend yourself.
She was right.
I don't want to hear it.
You blame her for your father's death.
We are wasting time.
She made a mistake.
So she should pay for it. That is the Luca way.
That is the coward's way.
How dare you?
You say your father inspired you, then act like it.
What?
Your father loved your mother despite her weakness. He died following his heart, not his duty.
He died because she was weak.
No! He died because he loved her. And you are spurning that because you are weak. You don't have it in you to forgive her, so you run. You hide behind your empty platitudes and hollow justices. But guess what? You can't run forever. We all make mistakes. Hold on to them long enough and just you watch what you become. Trust me. It's revolting.
I don't think I've ever seen you more honest.
You need to learn to let go. It's hard, damn it, I know. But what you're doing to her, to yourself, it's not worth it.
My father was one of the best judges.
Your father was more than the Luca. And you can be too.
If he was still alive, I have a feeling the two of you would have gotten along very well.
Part of him still is.
Perhaps.
Isabel!
Mother! Get away from her! The Misted Isles. That must be where it's taking her. Cicero, you were with my mother when she found the route.
57.
I know the way. We're almost at the end. Come on!
I wonder if this is a case where it doesn't really matter what way you actually go, it's going to let you get where you're going.
Get away from her!
Ulve!
I guess we have to start by killing the pillar. So we'll start with the pillar and then we'll see where we're going.
left! Left, Cicero!
I like how it looks like left was obvious. From which perspective? You're all looking in different directions. My left, your left, their left.
Look out! It's on the other island! The right, Cicero! Watch out, Cicero!
Presumably it's coming back to the...
To the left!
No, it's not coming back to the centre. Oh, there it is, yep.
Look out!
Well, it's dead.
Mother! Oh, my darling. Thank you.
Are you all right?
I will be.
I've got her, Cicero. You should... By the light. You should look around.
It's beautiful.
Attend to why we came. I'll be here.
Well, I guess we go to the... Oh, no, hang on. Before we go to the big glowy orange one... we need to click on the purples, because orange progresses, or gold progresses stuff. So you need to click on the purples first.
This is the one?
His.
It's barely hanging together.
On will Siun Aichen Siun Breog Siun
It's not making any sense.
It seems flustered. I'm not sure if...
Hey! Damn it. I'm sure it's got reasons.
Well, we're going to have to...
Don't do this!
Tiziana?
Judge Master, please.
Move aside, Marshal.
What is going on?
Our inquisitive hound.
Tiziana,
I'm sorry.
you told him about the Assemblia. About why we were here.
Yes, she did. To find out where these artifacts that I've been hearing so much about are. So, Inspettori, care to share?
These artifacts are involved in things you don't understand. I need them.
What you need, Inspettori, is to tell me where they are.
Why are you doing this?
Too long the city has been ruled by incompetence. It needs a leader that can fight, that has the strength to do what is necessary for the good of the city, not a weakling who poisons it with his age and frailty.
And you're mad enough to believe that's you?
Imagine how much safer, how much more orderly the city would be if it adopted the bright chorus's compass.
The Lucca don't even sing them anymore.
You can't have them.
What? You have spent too long in his company. He's darkened your eyes.
He has shown me the truth.
You are a marshal of the Lucca Infinita. Your father would...
My father would have spat upon this guild.
Blasphemous!
Look at us, Fabio. We wear suits of gold, but where do our hearts lie? We're not supposed to fight to banish the weak. We are supposed to fight for them.
The weak will take us down with them.
We are supposed to lift them up. Be the eyes of the blind, the tongues of the mute, the ears of the deaf, the swords of the poor. What happened to that?
Enough! I will deal with you later. But you will...
I challenge you.
What?
You believe you can rule this city under your martial thumb?
What are you saying?
Prove it. By your honor and pride, accept my challenge to a duel.
You think you can beat me?
If I do, you will respect the registry, and you will leave us alone. All of us, the Marshal included.
And if I win, you will tell me everything there is to know about the artifacts.
Cicero.
Fair. When you're ready.
May the best man win.
Hold your ground!
So after this one, we will be taking a break, like once any cutscenes that result are done anyway. So do that, then do that, then so he creates a lot of hassle around the map board, obviously, that we need to deal with. But he's not that hard to beat. I am playing on easy. I'm sure it's much more difficult if you aren't.
Enough! You have won.
And our deal?
I will honor my word. You fight well.
As do you.
We leave.
Cicero! That was
I know.
stupid!
What?
You could have been killed!
Well, whatever it is, I have bad news.
About what your Fae wanted to show us?
About the Fae itself. It's run off.
It'll be back.
By the light, Inspectore! I told you!
I know. We can deal with that later. First, we should get your mother back. Now that that's done, we need to find... Did I miss something?
Not once had I ever thought I'd stand up to the Judge Master like that. I never knew it could feel so good.
We'll see what you're saying once it comes around. Might not be a marshal for very much longer. I didn't think you'd take it that lightly.
I never thought I could either. But the things I'd once held so dear now seem like the trinkets of a fool. A broken compass for a blind heart.
Hold off on the poetry, Marshal. Next thing I know, you'll be turning yourself into a songstress.
Come on, let's see what the others are up to.
There you are.
Ven? What's the matter?
It's that creature thing you summoned. Came rushing back into the house not an hour ago.
Is anyone hurt?
No one but the walls. You should have a look.
So I think we'll have a look next time. This seems like a good place to break off for the day. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And catch you in the next one.